Hey everyone, welcome to the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. I'm Stephanie, a book-loving, notebook-hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of books and notebooks as tools for wellness. Reading and writing can help us feel better and make life better too, and I'll show you how I do it. You'll find episodes exploring the research behind reading and writing for wellness, practical strategies to embrace your own restorative reading and writing, and you'll meet authors and special guests who help us take inspired actions in our own daily practices too. So grab a notebook and your TBR list and let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness. I'm Stephanie Affinito, and I'm here with another episode on how reading and writing can make life better. Today, we are talking about little gifts of magic, little portable life coaches that we can hold in our hands when we need some wise advice or some prompts to think through something going on in our lives. What are those portable life coaches called? They are called picture books. That is what we are talking about today. Something that I have loved to do for years, something I did in my work as an instructional coach, as a professional learning facilitator. I would read adults' picture books as ways to prompt conversations, sometimes hard, complex conversations, and whenever we needed a moment of reflection, but needed a bit of a story to get us going first. So that's what today's episode is all about. Now, let's talk about life coaches first. What exactly is a life coach and what does a life coach do? Well, you may or may not have experience with life coaches, personal coaches, health coaches, instructional coaches, athletic coaches. A life coach helps us go where we want to go, right? So this is a coach who can offer us some perspective, who can walk us through a particular sequence of steps and help us reflect on where we are in our life and what we want next. They can help us go through a particular challenge and help us reframe that challenge into all sorts of possible solutions. And just overall, a life coach is there to encourage us to grow, to encourage us to hopefully trust ourselves and make decisions that could make our life better. That is why a picture book is a powerful example of a life coach, right? Books offer perspective. Books ask us to reflect. Books can help us reframe challenges. Books can help us grow and trust our inner knowledge that we have if we take the time to think about it. So I think picture books as these portable life coaches are underrated, underused, and underknown portals of possibilities for adults to keep reading. Now, why are picture books so powerful for adults still, no matter how old we are? Well, number one, picture books often take these big ideas or these big truths, these big lessons, and they package them into small spaces without diminishing their meaning. There is something quite powerful that an author does when they take a story, an idea, a message, a complexity, a something, and they distill it down into just 32 pages with beautiful pictures that give us this full circle, beginning and end, tie it on a bow experience that usually offers us some kind of feeling, right? Maybe it is hope. Maybe it is freedom. Maybe it is solving some sort of life challenge, right? It offers adults a little tiny space to just decompress and get clear on something. On picture books, there's a picture book for everything, okay? Whether it's change or belonging, courage, letting go, making friends, what's family, there is a picture book that can help get to that place that you need, right? That inner child that's still there when you were reading picture books way, way back, they still crave them. Now, picture books also invite a kind of slowness that adults often reject or don't have time for. There are these bigger pages than the novels that adults are supposed to read, invite us into. There are usually just a couple of lines per page, a lot of white space, a lot of beautiful illustrations that invite us to use our senses in different ways than adult novels do. And if you've been listening to me, you know that layering on our senses to a reading or writing experience is part of what makes it restorative to our nervous system. So picking up a picture book and turning the pages slowly and really settling in and savoring what we see, that invites our systems to calm down and rest and be more receptive to what is to come. Now, the great thing about using picture books as life coaches and not, let's say, a typical personal development book is that picture books don't give advice. And their overall goal is not to teach us a lesson or to have some grand big takeaway. It is to enjoy a story. It is to truly sink in and enjoy a story. And in that process of interacting with the author and the book and you discover what that meaning of the book is meant to be for you. Someone else could read that picture book and get a completely different meaning. And a perfect example is that when we read the picture books of our childhood, we were not looking for messages and meaning. We were enjoying a good book with a loved one. Now, as an adult, if we were to reread that same book, we would likely look at that book completely differently. So, reading picture books is this meaning making experience that just makes it feel personal and long lasting because we typically remember the books, the picture books, especially that we read. And then finally, I feel like picture books are safe places, right? You know that if you pick up a picture book, you can finish it in just a couple of minutes. You can cross that off your to-do list if that's the kind of structure you need to have an entry point into reading. It's a lower barrier, right? We can get it opened, read, and closed in a couple of minutes and feel good about finishing full circle a reading experience. It's also safe because they are gentle stories. You're not going to find trigger warnings, or typically will not find trigger warnings in picture books like you would an adult text. And picture books can just be these supportive bombs that you need when you're burnt out or overwhelmed or frustrated. Again, they're these perfect, portable, little safe life coaches that could give us the mentoring that we need. Right? Maybe they help us name an emotion that we're feeling that we either are too afraid to or just can't quite articulate until we feel that story in our bones. Picture books can offer us a perspective shift that we need when we need it the most. They always model possibility, right? There is a clear beginning, middle, and end, often a problem and a solution that just gives us this full circle sense of completion by the end of the book. And as adults, when we read them, reading them for more than just enjoying a story with the person reading to us, they can help us ask these quiet, very important questions of ourselves. Right? What is mattering most to me right now? What might I need to let go of, which is my April 2026 theme of release? And where might this invite me to grow? Picture books, a 5-minute picture book session can be that little life coach cheering you on that you need in order to grow through what you're going through or just make life better. So, I want to share 3 books with you as an example of how you can turn to a picture book when you need it the most in order to coach yourself. So, the first book I want to share is titled The Blur by Min Lee and Dan Santat. This is a gorgeous book in both words and pictures. We know that time passes quickly, right? And this book so beautifully captures just how fast. And I think it's a perfect picture book to spark conversation and reflection on what matters most to us, what we do not want to pass us by, and how we can savor our days. So if you were to pick up the blur before reading, I would invite you to ask yourself these questions. What feels like a blur in your life right now? What matters most right now? And what do you think might need to be prioritized? To just think of your own life and your own blurs and what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. And then go into the book, enjoy it, savor it, read the words, view the pictures, feel it deep in your bones, and then ask when you're done, what do you want to make sure you prioritize in this particular season of life? What has felt like a blur to you and you don't like it and you want to avoid that in the future? What is this book bringing up for you? And then if you want to go further, as if a life coach were inviting you to do something with what you've learned, I say get out your notebook and start listing. Create a list of things you want to prioritize in the coming season of life for you. And those things can be a list of practices like daily rituals and routines. It can be a list of things that you want to do, like a bucket list that you don't want to blur by you. Whatever comes to mind when you think about what you want to prioritize in the coming season so it doesn't become a blur, list that down and think about the plan you may need to make it happen. What habits will you need to cultivate in order to stop this particular blur from happening? How will you implement them? When will you accomplish them? How will you check in with yourself to see how it's going? This book is a reminder that life goes by quickly and things will turn into a blur unless we prioritize what matters most. So, there was the first book I recommend. I've got two more for you. The second book is called Swirl by Swirl, Spirals in Nature by Joyce Sidman. This is another beautifully illustrated book, and it sets us squarely in nature to literally marvel at the transformations that occur there. I think that this book is perfect for choosing goals, especially choosing new goals, and then regrouping when we feel stuck. Okay, so if you are in a season where you feel stuck in some way, this book is for you. It's the perfect metaphor to help you think about what you need to unfurl and to grow. So before reading, you might ask yourself, and perhaps you get out your notebook and write down, how are you feeling right now? But then ask yourself, how are you really feeling right now? It's like Jenna Kutcher's book. How are you really? And just be honest and write down what those feelings are. And pay attention to what in your life feels tight and restricted, where you feel particularly stuck. Maybe you just hold it in your mind. Maybe you jot it down on a notebook, but you take that pre-reading reflection with you into this book and you read it and you probably read it again and you sink into those pages and you look at the spirals and you look at the coils and you look at the things that are unfurling in nature. And after reading, ask yourself, where are you in the spiral of growth? Where do you think you need to relax and unfurl and grow? How might you do that? And what community is out there to help you? Now, again, if this were an actual life coach that could talk, perhaps your life coach would then say, go online, go to YouTube, type in embrace the shake into the YouTube search bar and watch that video and decide where and how you might embrace the shake. You might embrace an unexpected unfurling. And then if you'd like to take your learning outside, go out there and take a nice long sensory walk and really soak in the season, the natural calendar season that you are in, and hold this one question in mind as you walk. How can we embrace seasons of rest and productivity to grow as a balanced person? Where do you need to coil? Where do you need to unfurl? And what might that look like in this particular season of life? Okay, finally, my third picture book to share with you today is one of my favorites. I use it almost every year in my work with kids and teachers, and it's The Big Orange Splot by Daniel Pinkwater. The book is based on this wonderful premise, which is, who knew that a big orange splot of paint dropped from the sky could transform a cookie cutter neighborhood into a collection of people pursuing their passions? This book is perfect if you have forgotten your dreams. This book is perfect for you if you are stuck in a rut. This book is perfect for you if you're not quite sure what to do next. Read The Big Orange Splot. And before you do, just allow yourself time to think about these two questions. If you had unlimited time and resources, what would you spend your time doing? What would those dreams be? What would you call back from childhood? What would you lean into that's new in your adult life? If you had unlimited time and resources, what would you spend your time doing? And then the second question, have you ever just wanted to shake something up in your life? Like literally make it different, flip it upside down, turn it on its head, whatever metaphor comes to mind. What is that thing for you? And hold those two answers close as you read this book. It's a wonderful book that has some repetitiveness to it that really helps you get into the spirit of things. And it ends with these beautiful full color neighborhood scenes that just do something to your brain to spark your own dreams. And after reading, ask yourself two questions. One is kind of hard and one is fun. The first one is kind of hard. Might you be stuck in your life following the same routines and chasing the same goals just because you thought you should, or just because that's the way you've always done it? Like, are you stuck because of your own personal actions that you've dug for yourself? And then the second fun question, if your life looked like all of your dreams, what would it look like? You could even get really fun and artistic and say, what would your house look like if it looked like all of your dreams, which will make sense after you read this book. And here's what the life coach of this book would say. Get out your notebook, get out a piece of paper, get your colorful markers, your watercolors, or whatever creative supplies are your jam, and draw a house that looks like all your dreams. Okay, if Mr. Plumbean had invited you over to chat with some lemonade at night, and in the morning your house was completely transformed to look like all of your dreams, what would it look like? Just have some fun. Let the artistic creativity wash over your brain and make you feel better. Let the dreams kind of come forth and just have this decompressed moment for yourself. Now, from there, you may create a vision board to represent those dreams as well. It could be paper pencil, right? Get out the junk journals, get out the magazines, cut, paste, add stickers, or go to Pinterest and do it digitally instead. But the third thing that you might consider, and this was an important part for me as I reread this book multiple times, this is the question that always came up. How might you respond to people who are not brave enough to chase their own dreams that have thoughts about yours? That is a little hidden component in this book that children might not catch on to, but adults certainly would. Right? So if you were to build the house of your dreams and the life of your dreams, how would you share that dream with others? And what if people responded as they did in the book? Would you be as brave as Mr. Plumbean and just move ahead with your dreams anyway? Okay, those are three of my favorite picture books to recommend to adults as portable life coaches, right? I really feel that picture books are coaching tools, and I have a collection of these. I have over 50 picture books that I have read and explored with adults for exactly this reason. And over the next couple of weeks, I am going to be partnering with the Kidlit Love podcast. Yes, it is mine. I'm going to be partnering with myself to release on Substack a couple of features that showcase even more of the picture books that I love to read as coaching tools. So if you're not subscribed either to this podcast, which is A Lit Life with Stephanie Affinito on Substack, or Kid Lit Love, go there, subscribe to the one or both that you want to see the most, and you'll get these posts coming soon. You're going to get an overview of the book, and then you'll get a really cool, well, I think it's cool, printable of the book, the cover of the book, the questions for before, for during, for after, and additional coaching invitations for yourself. Now, if you go to the show notes for this episode, you will get 3 of those pages that you can print out and start collecting right away in the show notes. You'll see them as a picture so that they are nice and appealing and instantly available, but you can also download them as PDFs, and I'll be compiling these together more and more and more and releasing them throughout the year, likely paired with my one-word themes that I explore each month as well. So I would love to know what you think. Have you ever used a picture book as a coaching tool? If so, tell me which ones you loved. If not, are you considering it now? And tell me what you think of the 3 books that I've decided to recommend first for you here. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for entertaining my ideas about adults reading picture books as life coaching tools. And I can't wait to see what you think. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Get Literate Substack community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and much more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content, too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. But there's one more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and no bookish community too. Thanks for listening, everyone.